Beloved brothers and sisters in Christ, there is a truth written into the spirit of creation. Not every door in your life is meant to open by your hand. Sometimes your strength will not budge it. Your persistence won't unlock it. Your influence won't break it, because there is a higher authority over the doors of your destiny, and that authority is not you, it is God. God closes doors to protect you, not to punish you. This truth may feel heavy in the moment, especially when you're standing before a door that once held your dreams. You may have prayed over it, fasted for it, and believed with every fiber of your being that this door was yours to walk through. But still it shut, and not just shut gently, it slammed in your face. It left you confused, wounded, and searching for reasons. But what if the closed door was never meant to be a rejection? What if it was divine redirection wrapped in silence? When God closes a door, his motive is never to destroy your hope, but to deepen your trust. Many people assume that when a door closes, it's a sign of failure. They think it means they didn't do enough, didn't pray enough, or somehow missed their destiny. But God does not operate within human limitations. He sees what you cannot. He knows what waits on the other side of that door. And in his sovereignty, he acts not according to your emotions, but according to his eternal vision. That closed door may have been a relationship you thought would last, a job you believed was your breakthrough, a dream you poured years into, and yet God allowed it to close, not because he was angry at you, not because he was disappointed, but because he saw danger beyond the threshold. He saw pain, compromise, or delay you couldn't foresee, and in his love he blocked it. Protection doesn't always look like a miracle. Sometimes it looks like heartbreak. Sometimes it looks like unanswered prayers. Sometimes it feels like everything is falling apart. But behind the scenes, God is building something better. He is not reactive, he is intentional. When he removes access, he increases alignment. You may have thought that door led to your next chapter, but God saw it as a trap dressed as an opportunity. His closure is a shield, not a punishment. A defense, not a denial. There is a reason soldiers wear armor, not because they're weak, but because they're valuable. You don't guard what's worthless. You protect what carries purpose. That's how God sees you. Sometimes God will close doors suddenly and without explanation. He won't always give you a sign. He won't always provide closure in the way you want it, but that does not mean he has left you alone. In fact, the silence is often the clearest sound of his intervention. He doesn't owe us an explanation when his direction is perfect. Trust is required when sight is unavailable. You may not see what he's doing, but you must believe that it's for your good. Closed doors often preserve your character. They prevent you from stepping into something too early. They protect you from environments that would break your spirit. They guard your heart from aligning with what looks good but isn't good for you. There's a reason some people walked away, a reason that opportunity didn't work out, a reason you didn't get that position or win that battle. You may think you lost, but God was actually winning something greater for you. There's a divine interception happening, and it doesn't always feel gentle, but it's always holy. When God shuts a door, it's not just about what he's keeping you from. It's also about what he's preparing you for. If he let you walk through every open door, you would be stretched too thin, exposed to things that would drain your spirit, and distracted from the assignments that carry your true calling. Some doors are loud, glittering, appealing, but empty. Others are dangerous behind their beauty. God, in his perfect wisdom, slams them shut. You may not appreciate it now, but the day will come when you will. The day when you'll look back at the doors you once cried over, and you'll realize they were never meant for you. You'll realize those very closed doors positioned you for open heavens. They prepared you to recognize the right doors when they come, because the delay taught you discernment. The detour refined your focus. The denial strengthened your dependence on God rather than your own understanding, and through it all, he was never trying to harm you. He was shielding you. The door was closed, but the hand of God was wide open. Sometimes the greatest form of love isn't letting you have your way, it's blocking your way when your way leads to less than you were created for. In life, doors will present themselves in ways that appear attractive, timely, and promising. They may even seem like answers to your prayers, but the truth is, not every opportunity that comes your way is aligned with the divine purpose God has written for you. Just because something is available doesn't mean it's ordained. Just because something looks right doesn't mean it is right. Opportunities may be many, but divine assignments are few, and they are specific. When you live a life led by purpose, you must learn to distinguish between what is good and what is God. Some doors are designed to distract, not direct. They may come wrapped in success, applause, popularity, money, or relationships, but beneath the surface lies a path that leads you away from the calling placed within you. The enemy is subtle, and one of his greatest tactics is misalignment. If he cannot destroy you, he will try to detour you not with obvious evil, but with appealing alternatives, opportunities that look like shortcuts. Paths that feel easier than obedience, choices that give instant results but pull you far from eternal purpose. This is why spiritual discernment is more critical than worldly ambition. God's purpose over your life is not vague. It is intentional and tailor-made. It carries timing, preparation, and divine positioning. And when an opportunity is not aligned with that purpose, God will often give you a check in your spirit, that inner nudge, that sense of unrest, that still small voice saying, "Not this one." But too often, people ignore it. They chase opportunities out of fear, pressure, or the desire to prove something. But when you move outside of God's plan, you also step outside of His covering. What begins as excitement may end in exhaustion. What looks like progress may turn into confusion. Because an opportunity outside of purpose will never fulfill you, it will only distract you from your divine identity. You must understand that success is not about how many doors you can walk through, but which doors were authored by God. Many people open doors by manipulation, connections, flattery, or striving, but once inside, they find themselves lost, overwhelmed, or broken because they weren't graced for it, they weren't sent, they went. There is a weight that comes with divine purpose, but there is also a grace to carry it. And if God hasn't sent you through that door, the burden will be too heavy to bear. The opportunity may bring visibility, but it may cost you peace. It may elevate your platform, but weaken your character. That is not God's way. God does not need to manipulate situations to get you into the right place. He aligns, He appoints, He calls. When the opportunity is from Him, it comes with confirmation, peace, and provision. It bears the fruit of righteousness, not chaos. It may challenge you, but it will not confuse you. It may stretch you, but it will not destroy you. When you are aligned with God's purpose, you can walk away from opportunities that look good because you trust the one who holds the ultimate blueprint. You don't fear missing out because you know nothing meant for you can pass you by. Purpose is not just about open doors, it's also about closed ones. The right no is just as powerful as the right yes. Learning to say no to misaligned opportunities is not rejection, it's protection of your assignment. You are not created to pursue everything. You were created to pursue destiny, and destiny requires focus. Every time you say yes to something outside of God's purpose, you delay what He's trying to release. Every time you choose noise over direction, you silence the voice of destiny. Don't be impressed by every opportunity that shines. Test it, pray over it, seek wisdom. Ask yourself, does this door lead me closer to God's plan or further from it? Does it build my character or just boost my image? Is it in alignment with the season God has me in? If you cannot say yes with peace, then it is not from Him. Wait on the door that fits the shape of your calling. Because when it's right, you won't have to force it, and you won't have to lose yourself to walk through it. There are moments in life when everything you hoped for, planned for, or worked towards suddenly comes to a halt. The door shuts, and you are left staring at it, wondering why. You replay every decision. You question yourself, your faith, your timing. You ask, what did I do wrong? But the reality is, not all closed doors are about mistakes. Some are about movement towards something higher, something deeper, something far more aligned with God's ultimate purpose for your life. Closed doors are often divine interruptions meant to reroute you to the path you were truly designed to walk. We often confuse redirection with rejection, but the God who writes your story is not random. He does not close doors to mock you. He closes them because where you were heading is not where you were meant to end up. Divine direction isn't always obvious in the moment. Sometimes it's confusing. It feels like loss. It feels like failure. But if you look deeper beyond the surface of disappointment, you'll see the fingerprints of a God who loves you too much to let you settle in the wrong place. When a door closes, it forces you to pause. That pause creates space, and in that space, clarity begins to form. Without the pressure of trying to force something to work, you begin to hear the whispers of heaven again. The closed door makes you reflect, recalibrate, and realign. It turns your attention back to the source, back to the creator of the path, not just the path itself. Sometimes, it's only after the disappointment that you can recognize your deeper calling. And sometimes, God has to shut down the direction you were moving in to protect the direction He ordained from the beginning. Think about those moments when you were so sure something would happen. That relationship you thought would lead to marriage. That career you believed would define your purpose. That business plan that looked flawless but still failed. You put everything into it, but it still didn't open. And what you didn't realize then, and maybe are just starting to see now, is that God wasn't taking something from you. He was leading you to something better. The redirection didn't mean the end. It meant a new beginning, one that was more in alignment with who you're becoming. Divine direction doesn't always look like progress at first. Sometimes it looks like going backward. It looks like starting over. But with God, delay is not defeat, and setback is not the same as surrender. The door may be closed, but the journey isn't over. God is not limited to your timeline. He's not pressured by your deadlines. He knows how to position you, even through what seems like disruption. In fact, some of the greatest breakthroughs in life come right after the most painful shutdowns. Because when you let go of what you thought was the way, you finally become open to the true way. When God closes a door, He also begins to prepare the road ahead. He begins to stir your heart for something new. You may not see it immediately, but the shift happens internally first. Your priorities change, your desires evolve. What once satisfied you no longer feels enough. That's not you failing, that's you growing. You are being drawn towards something greater, more fulfilling, more deeply rooted in truth. And that new direction requires a closing, because the door you were fixated on could never contain the next level of who God is calling you to be. God's redirection is gentle but firm. It doesn't always make sense in the moment, but it always makes sense in hindsight. You'll look back and realize that the closed door was the very thing that set your life on a better course. A course that led to purpose, to alignment, to divine timing, and most importantly, to a deeper trust in the one who sees all paths at once. You were never abandoned. You were always being led. Every detour was a design. Every delay was a setup. Every closed door was a new path being carved in heaven just for you. There is a sacred confidence that comes when you understand that the doors in your life are not controlled by people, systems, or circumstances, but by God Himself. He holds the master key. He determines which doors open and which ones stay shut. And when He opens a door for you, no one, no critic, no competitor, no force of darkness can close it. Likewise, when He closes a door, no amount of pleading, pushing, or persuading can force it back open. His authority is absolute, and His decisions are rooted in divine wisdom that far exceeds human logic. We live in a world where people are constantly striving to gain access to positions, relationships, platforms, success. And often this access is pursued through connections, manipulation, or performance. But the truth is, the most powerful doors in your life won't be opened by your hustle, they will be opened by heaven. God's doors are not dependent on earthly approval. They don't require resumes, popularity, or credentials. He opens doors that make no sense to the world, but perfect sense in His plan. Some doors you've tried to open stayed, shut no matter what you did. You may have prayed, cried, worked harder, or tried again, but nothing changed. And over time, it can feel like God is distant or indifferent. But what you must remember is this: when God shuts a door, He does it with full knowledge of your future. He's not acting randomly or cruelly, He's acting protectively. The door you thought was the right one may have led to confusion, distraction, or destruction, and in His mercy, He shut it, not to deny you a future, but to safeguard the future He already has in place for you. On the other hand, when God opens a door, it comes with clarity. It may not be easy, but it will carry peace. You won't have to force it. You won't have to beg for it. You won't have to compromise your values to access it. His open doors come with favor, not just opportunity. They are surrounded by grace, and they often come after a season of preparation, a time when you were hidden, refined, and developed. The world may have forgotten you, but God didn't. And when the moment was right, He turned the handle no one else could touch. There will be times in your life when people will try to stop you. They may lie, criticize, or even actively work against your progress. But if the door was opened by God, their efforts are powerless, because what God has decreed cannot be revoked by man. That job, that ministry, that opportunity, if it was assigned to you by heaven, it doesn't matter how strong the opposition is. The authority behind the door is greater than the resistance in front of it. That is why your security should never rest in human approval. It should rest in divine placement. This truth also calls for humility. Just because God opens a door doesn't mean it came because of your qualifications or strength. It came because of His grace. And when He closes a door, it's not always about punishment or lack, it's about His perfect timing and order. If you truly trust God, then you must also trust His no as much as His yes. You must learn to praise Him for closed doors just as much as open ones, because He sees what you can't. He knows what would break you, delay you, or blind you. Letting go of doors God has shut is one of the greatest acts of maturity. And walking through doors God has opened, even when you feel unprepared, is one of the greatest acts of faith. You may not feel ready, but if God opened the way, then He's also equipped you for it. Don't let fear keep you standing in front of an open door, and don't let pride keep you banging on a closed one. God's control over your doors means you are never at the mercy of chaos. You are never without direction. Even in silence, even in waiting, He is orchestrating access. He is positioning people. He is aligning seasons. And when the time is right, what has been locked for years will suddenly swing open, not because of who you are, but because of who He is. When we try to force our way through life's doors, we often end up frustrated, drained, or disappointed. That's because not every door is meant to open by our hands. There are doors only God can unlock, and the key is never human effort. It is faith. Faith is the quiet confidence that God knows what He's doing, even when we don't see the full picture. It's the unwavering trust that God's no is as important as His yes, and His timing is more important than our urgency. Doors that are destined by God will not open through manipulation, hustle, or fear. They open when we believe, obey, and wait. Many times, what appears to be a delay is actually God setting things up behind the scenes. The right door often requires the right preparation, and faith is part of that preparation. Faith doesn't mean passivity, it means trust in movement. We keep walking forward, but with a posture of surrender, not control. We do what we can, but we don't force what's not yet ready. We stay faithful in the hallway while God works on the door. Faith opens doors that effort can't. It softens the hearts of people, it aligns divine timing, and it places us in the right posture to receive what we're meant to walk into. Some people miss their door because they tried to build their own. Others miss it because they stood in front of the wrong one, refusing to move. But faith, real, living faith, stirs us to move when God says move and rest when He says wait. That's the rhythm of divine alignment. When your faith is active, you stop fearing closed doors. You start seeing rejection as redirection. You recognize that not every room is your assignment, and not every opportunity is a calling. Faith gives you peace in uncertainty and confidence in seasons of silence. You understand that God may close a door that looks good, not because He's cruel, but because He sees beyond what you can. Faith changes your vision. It no longer craves validation from man or open doors by popularity or power. It rests in the unseen hand of God, which moves doors in ways no man can explain. When people say that door opened suddenly, they rarely realize it was faith that built the foundation beneath the surface. There are moments when you feel like nothing is moving, the hallway feels long, the silence feels heavy, but that's where faith is tested and matured. That's where you learn to trust God's character over your circumstances. That's where you stop knocking on every door out of desperation and start discerning which doors carry divine fingerprints. Faith doesn't mean you'll never question or feel discouraged, but it means you'll keep trusting even when you don't understand. It's easy to believe when doors swing open fast. The real test is when nothing seems to happen and you still believe. Faith is what God looks for, not perfection, not performance, but belief. There are doors in life that will look locked forever until your faith activates the invisible hinges. You may feel like you've prayed and nothing has shifted, but faith isn't always about immediate results. It's about supernatural confidence in an unseen plan. When you walk by faith, even closed doors don't scare you anymore. You realize God is a master architect. He never makes a mistake in construction. If a door remains shut, He's either building something better or protecting you from something worse. Faith opens doors because it attracts divine alignment. It places you where grace can reach you, and it postures your heart for unexpected favor. Some doors don't need your knock, they need your trust. Faith also changes how you see other people's doors. You stop comparing timelines. You stop questioning why others got there first. Faith anchors your identity in God, not in your access. It reminds you that your door is not delayed, it's being refined. When the door opens by faith, it won't just be a room, it will be a revelation. It won't just elevate your life, it will confirm God's faithfulness. So when things don't move, when the doors stay closed, remember it's not always a denial. Sometimes it's God waiting for your faith to mature, for your heart to align, for your character to catch up with your calling. When you're standing before a closed door, your instinct may be to panic, to question, or to push against it. But God, in His divine wisdom, is not operating on panic, confusion, or haste. He is orchestrating the timing of your life with precision, and when it is time for the right door to open, no power in heaven or earth can keep it shut. But until that appointed moment, waiting becomes your proving ground. It is where your trust is tested and your character is forged. The waiting season is not a punishment, it is preparation. And in that preparation, God is not just getting the door ready for you, He is getting you ready for the door. You may see stillness, but He sees ripening. You may see silence, but He hears the maturing of your spirit. In the wait, God is teaching you that delay does not mean denial, it means divine alignment. Many people miss their open doors because they force themselves through wrong ones. But those who wait on the Lord find that His doors do not require manipulation. They open with ease. At the exact moment He knows you are equipped to walk through. And when God opens a door, you don't need to campaign for it, beg for it, or prove your worth to others. The door that belongs to you, no one else can take. The opportunity God has prepared, no one else can occupy. But until then, trust the timing, trust the stillness, trust the delay. God is not only a door opener, but also a timekeeper. He is never too early, never too late, always on time. In the wait, your faith matures. Your discernment sharpens, your dependency deepens, you stop striving and start trusting. You no longer knock out of desperation, but out of expectation. You no longer look for shortcuts, because you understand that what God builds in time, He blesses in strength. Waiting is not weakness, it is the soil where trust grows, where spiritual muscles are stretched, where emotional wisdom is cultivated. The ones who wait are the ones who last. The ones who wait are the ones who don't crumble when the door finally opens, because they've been prepared by patience. Waiting is your hidden season of molding and growth, and it is as sacred as the moment the door finally swings open. And what often appears as inactivity is actually divine activity behind the scenes. God is aligning people, resources, locations, events, things you cannot see, but that are essential to your calling. You don't see the conversations happening in rooms you haven't entered yet. You don't see the delays that are saving you from pitfalls. You don't see the spiritual warfare being fought on your behalf. All you are asked to do is wait with faith, and in doing so, you are declaring that God, not circumstances, not people, not opportunities, is your source. When your waiting is anchored in Him, you are not passive, you are prophetic. You are standing in the assurance that your life is unfolding on divine schedule. There's something holy about standing in front of a closed door and not forcing it open. Something sacred about looking at what seems like a delay and saying, I will still trust you. It's in those moments that God sees your faith for what it truly is, not a tool for outcomes, but a declaration of surrender. That kind of trust shakes heaven. That kind of waiting invites power. When the door finally opens, it won't just be a moment, it'll be a move. And you will walk through it with a confidence not born of pride, but born of having walked with God in the dark, having waited when no answers came, having trusted when no signs appeared. That kind of walkthrough becomes a testimony that not only did God open the door, but He sustained you while you waited for it. When you walk with the awareness that God is in control of every door, whether it's one that swings wide open or one that slams shut, you begin to live with a peace that surpasses human logic. You are no longer paralyzed by fear of missed opportunities, rejection, or delays. You no longer chase what is not meant for you, nor do you mourn over the doors that didn't open. Instead, you stand in quiet confidence, knowing that your life is not governed by random outcomes, but by divine orchestration. Every step you take, every room you enter, and every threshold you wait before is part of a higher plan that is beyond your current comprehension. Trust the divine doorkeeper, the one who sees what you cannot see, who knows what you do not know, and who loves you beyond what you can ever measure. When God controls your doors, no man, no system, no setback can keep you from what is divinely destined for you.